Hey there, everyone. End of the month, and didn't do as many videos as I wanted to. I wanted to do some more reviews on. Well, let me rephrase. I wanted to finally watch Spider-Man: No Way Home and Northman. Didn't get around to that. As a shitty reason as it may be, work has been a little nuts lately. People coming, people going, schedules changing. I'm just getting really tired and don't necessarily have the energy to watch or take the time to do a recording as such. So I do apologize. I am trying to get this done a little more often. But yeah, work has been fun. And I'm going to apologize now if there's any sounds that like a wind, buzzsaw, or anything like that. I have a fan going. I have my door open so I can get some fresh air for a change. So I do apologize if you hear whooshing or buzzsaws or whatever. So also for other updates, working on my subclasses in Final Fantasy XIV. Working on getting a gold saucer mount, the Fenrir mount. That's going to take a long ass time. 1 million gold, yeah. Woo! So, doing all that. If I don't have it up by now, I'm going to try to maybe bring my gaming channel, or at least have the commentary versions of gaming over here. Again, it's going to be a little more casual. I'm not planning to do like full in-depth or over-the-top reactions like some other YouTubers. So I'm still debating on whether or not to do that. I do also want to bring over my Final Fantasy XIV Bun Wallace gameplays over. Hopefully I'll have that up by time this video comes out, if not shortly after. I really do like the story of 14. There's Stormblood. The Stormblood expansion I really don't like too much. Followed by Heaven's Ward, not exactly my favorite in story-wise. Realm Reborn, pretty standard. I mean, they pretty much scrapped. Yeah, pretty much. They did scrap the original 14 to make that. So. Shadow Walker or Shadowbringer, I did enjoy that. It definitely got way more into the lore of the world. And then the current expansion that they're still doing is Endwalker, and I didn't like it at first. Spoilers if you want to skip ahead. I didn't like this Dynamis. I forget what the Akasha, whatever it's called. Dynamis being emotional energy, and I didn't really like that at first. And then, whenever they introduced Medion and what she went through, it made more sense. And I loved how they explained that how it all started, basically. But still, fuck the Ascians. So I do want to do that. I have beaten the main game several times so far. I'm the furthest with my original character on Crystal Server World Carl, whatever it's called. I don't go on that character as much anymore. I'm on the server on the world of where Bun is, and so there's all that. I am also working on a fan fiction of the story, obviously following Bun, and I am introducing several other characters, 7 other original characters. with their own story, like not full in-depth stories, but unique enough to my character and the story. There are going to be parts of it, unfortunately, that are from the game itself, as it would make more sense. So it's going to take a long time to get that all worked out. And obviously all the parts that I mention are going to be from the game itself, so hopefully I don't get in trouble for that. So I'm working on several projects like that. Also trying to get back into drawing on my DeviantArt page. And slowly but surely, I want to try to work on using the Final Fantasy XIV cookbook. There are several recipes that I actually introduced to my job as a culinarian that has potential to be put on to be used, so we shall see. Progress is very slow on that end, though, because as I said, people come, people go. There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts around going in this day and age. So, yeah, that's a quick update. I did remember that I did say I wanted to do a review of the Netflix show The Sandman. I don't plan to do a full one. In fact, I'm going to do it now, simply because, one, I can. And two, it's just, as much as I liked the show, the visuals were amazing. I loved the Dreamworld. It didn't look cheap. Well, most of it did. There were some parts that looked really cheap. I enjoyed the actors. I don't think there was a bad casting at all. But it felt like a missed opportunity for a lot of parts. If you haven't seen it, I am going to go into spoilers, so just to let you know, if you want to see it, skip all this. I don't know if I'm going to have timestamps, so I do apologize. But basically, every episode felt literally episodic, like it was its own chapter. There was a couple that kind of merged in with the other, but not to the point where it's like, oh wow, this feels like a one continuous story. I think at chapter 4, that quote-unquote arc was over, and then it went to a single episode and then went to a smaller arc. It didn't feel very fleshed out. Like Dream or Morpheus gets captured for about 100 or so years. There's a confusion in the timeline, I think. Freed, and now he must collect his items that are scattered across the world, but he gets them all back within the next 3 episodes, and each episode is an hour long. Well, about an hour long. The first one's definitely an hour. I think they're all about like 45 minutes, something like that. But like I said, they all feel disjointed. Even the episode where he's trying to get back his stone, sleep stone, whatever it is. It's mostly living this fantasy of a character who I thought would have been a great villain. Because I never read the comics. This is based off a comic book series, so I thought the guy would have been a great villain. He's the actor who played Ares in Wonder Woman. So I'm not looking him up right now because I'm too damn lazy. But he's a tremendous actor. Like, you see him, it's like, he can command the room if he wanted to. But yeah, he was the quote-unquote villain for pretty much just one episode. And he was obsessed with people telling the truth because his mother lied to him his entire life, essentially, and he was sick of it. And he made this restaurant, this diner of, I think it's like 6 people, kind of crazy and only tell the truth, and at the end they all killed themselves. It's just like, oh, okay, so he wants the whole world dead. Because apparently no one can handle the truth. And then Dream came along and was like, hey, no, dreams are more important than the truth, which is somewhat okay, but at the same time, it's like, not necessarily. I think, personally, it definitely does help to tell the truth, but small modicums of lie, not too much, is not necessarily a bad thing. But, yeah, so. But they could have done a lot more. I feel like they could have explored more of the mythos of Dream, or made the episode shorter and had more. Like, we're introduced to Death in episode 4, and I actually found her character to be extremely interesting. But she's there for 10 minutes and then she's gone, and then it goes to this weird flashback for the rest of the episode where someone didn't want to die or thought he was invincible, and he and Dream meet up every 100 years at the same pub. And at one point the guy's like, hey, you're only coming here because we're friends, right? And Dream gets all offended. It's like, why would I be friends with a mortal? And I was like, oh, okay, so the only person you ever talk to with some sort of character development in your end, you suddenly don't want to be friends with. Got it. And then he goes back at the end of the episode to the guy, and presumably they had their once in 100 years chat. So it's weird, because it does feel like after the end of every episode and then a new one starts, Dream's character development ends. So, like, back to each reset of an episode kind of thing. They also give a hint to a season 2, which might be interesting. Not sure yet. So, yeah, that's a... Oh yeah, and if you don't like someone who's constantly talking like this, barely raises his voice at all, it's not a show for you. The character Dream literally is like talking like he's some 14-year-old emo character. Awesome! Yes! That's what we wanted! So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Hope you guys are having a good time. At this point, Hurricane Ian is going through Florida to timestamp this, so hopefully everything turns out well there. But until then, guys, until next time, I'll talk to you later. See ya.